Now we're recording.
Now we're here. Colman, this is your first lead role in a major motion picture. I can't believe we finally get to say that. How does that feel?
It's taken 32 years, right?
It's a 32-year breakthrough.
I'm a 32-year overnight sensation.
Exactly. That seems to happen in the most fortuitous of ways, I think, sometimes.
That's a blessing when it happens, especially when you don't expect it. You just a journeyman, and you just work, and you try to work with the best directors and be part of the best ensembles, and and then you get moments like this where something calls on everything that you truly could hope you could lend yourselves to. It's really special.
Absolutely. How were you introduced to Bayard Rustin? Do you remember how old you were?
Yes, I was not that young. I was about 19 years old, about junior year in college. And I joined the African American Student Union. And I think that in one discussion, Bayard Rustin's name came up. And then certain things came up: openly gay, Quaker, from Westchester, Pennsylvania, organized the March on Washington. And immediately I was like, wait a minute, hold up. How come I don't know anything about him? And then you feel duped by your whole education. You're like, wait a minute, why don't I know this? And I'm from Philadelphia. This Westchester's not that far away. Why don't I know this kind of history? And so I just kept going deeper to find out more about him and his and how significant he was. But not only him, I sort of did, and then once you go look into Bayard Rustin, it opens you up to Ella Baker. It opens you up to Dorothy Height. It opens you up to all these men and women who are so unsung in this movement. And you realize that history pulls out stars, and I mean, I know this being in this industry. It's like, yeah, certain people are plucked out, and then suddenly they're the face. And then the others who've been doing the work sort of have dimmer lights on them, but now it's like, the beautiful thing is now we're pulling him out of the shadows and helping him take his rightful place,
Yeah, that's a fantastic comparison, actually, how history in the world works to highlight and identify or diminish even.
Absolutely. That's the tricky thing about history. And I think, we're all dealing with that right now about everyone. I don't want to get too political, but there's a lot of people who don't want people to know their history, and that's the most damaging thing in the world. To try to history is always trying to be shaped instead of actually just understanding true history, and that's the way we advance. That's the way we know ourselves. I think any culture who is deeply steeped in their own history usually is such a forward-thinking, loving, generous, I think, because they know themselves. They know their trauma. They know the things that have been fucked up. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then they want to get better, but first you deal with history, truthfully.
I think a great idea for a film, and even a great director and cast, is almost nothing without good writing. What was your initial reaction to this script that did that?
What excited me is that it was, it makes organizing sexy. I mean, I thought it was really, it's really about the nuts and bolts of organizing a movement, of getting people rallied, establishing coalitions. It's about the thought process, the messiness of it, of trying to harness different groups and, with different ideologies, but it's all for the same purpose. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was, I thought it was witty and smart and funny. And I thought it seemed very small, actually. It really does feel very personal in the writing. It doesn't feel like it's trying to take on this big March on Washington. It's like the nuts and bolts of friendships, of intimate moments, and really through the lens of this one man who was very, I think, who had a lot of size, but because of so much size, and because he was openly gay, the fact that he was marginalized in the history books, it's like, I don't know. I just thought it was really delicate and beautiful. And even I know that the script has a lot of I have a lot of text, and a lot of, and it could be daunting, but I thought it was everything you wanted to just, you really wanted to get your lips and teeth wrapped around this text and chew on it, because it was so rich and it said so much about him and about his passion and about his fire.
One thing I think George C. Wolfe is especially good at, and it's, you know, the theatrical background is such a big part of it, is making like people talking in a room exciting and propulsive.
Yeah.
Can you talk about working with him again and how your language with him changed or grew since Ma Rainey?
Absolutely. Well, the thing that George said, he said, there's nothing more exciting than a lot of smart people in one room fighting it out. You know, it's kind of cool. And all they have is their ideas. They're not coming to blows. It's all their ideas and wit and barbs and how do you get your point across? Everyone's smart. And I feel like it's because that's the way George is, to be honest. I think George he responds very well when you're just as passionate and opinionated. It turns him on. It's kind of sexy, actually. So that's the thing that I've learned from working with George. That he loves that sparring because he knows it'll get to a place that you don't know, that you have to rethink what you know and unpack that because someone else is giving you a point that you didn't think about. But so I think that's what I think I've witnessed that he builds with, whether it's, you know, the cast of Ma Rainey, or which I really felt like was the cast of all casts. I felt like we're in a boxing ring together. They're, you know, heavyweights, the best at what they do. And then with Rustin, you have many great generations of actors. You have young artists who are just coming into their careers. You have legendary journeymen who've been doing this for a long time, like Glynn Turman. You have, you know, sort of the stalwarts in their careers, like Jeffrey Wright and myself and CCH Pounder, Michael Potts. You know, but we're all learning from each other. So it's like, it's really like it's crippling with each other, you know, like everyone wants to get in this and play and spar with one another. So, but it's all set up by George. I think George likes to make it that combustible, that beautiful combustible energy of creativity.
I don't think this could have been a complete story without the honest exploration of Rustin through the love scenes in the film. It's one thing for a character to say I'm gay, it's another to show it. Can you talk a little bit about just the importance, obviously, of that type of representation, but of those scenes in particular?
That I thought was the greatest draw for me, because I think a lot of times when there's a film about someone who is, you know, the LGBTQIA plus community, we leave their sexuality out of it. We talk about it, but we don't show it. And to be very honest, there was more of it, actually. I think that, you know, George made some editorial choices, but there were, you know, full hot and heavy scenes, you know, more skin, you name it. But I think editorially, I love the fact that there was a bit more elegance, and there's a sense of taste that was provided when it comes to the edit. But I think that you cannot have just someone with their ideas and their passion and their heart for civil rights and not deal with the fact that they have relationships. And I love the fact that the relationships are kind of messy at times too. They're not convenient. It shows that he was doing what he could as a queer man. You know, a lot of times things are happening in the shadows. Things are happening. He has a full affair with a married man. He has a sort of a friendship relationship with his assistant. You know, it's like, you know, the way queer men were navigating relationships at the time is a very interesting perspective to look at as well. You know, there wasn't the convenience of having a full-blown relationship. You know what I mean? So I love the fact that there's a perspective that we have to really look at the time of how he can satisfy those needs and that longing and that those feelings. But we also know that what wasn't afforded him, because of whether it's about safety, whether it's about I don't know, more like it's about safety. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. Do you have a favorite memory from shooting the film, or favorite scene or moment that is in the final cut?
Okay, I don't know why I just thought about this because I hadn't thought about this before. But working with Gus Halper, who plays Tom, Gus, the wildest thing is this. Gus was a guest star on my series Fear the Walking Dead, literally like 5 months before. And we played adversaries. I tried to kill him like in every other scene. And then he was cast as my lover. And there's that same energy actually, because we look at each other. And when I tell you if I had to fall in love with another actor, it's Gus. He really is one of the most open, generous, kindest actors. He recently got married to a woman. He's straight. but when I tell you, playing off of him and just looking in his eyes and fighting with him, and the scenes with him are so beautiful. I loved to just play off of him. He's just really wonderful, and I truly felt in love with him. Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned him, brought him up. I found all the scenes and the relationship with him, like you said, really complicated and really kind of the moment of the 60s and hiding, but sort of very open too. It's a fascinating exploration of those two.
Yeah, truly, because it's like I think, especially now as we know, I think, people can assume the way things were, but like you actually have to see that people are truly navigating these tricky relationships, and we don't know what to call it either. You know what I mean? And so I love the line where Rustin says to him, "You're my family. I know that's who you are. I don't know about the other stuff. The other stuff is too complicated, but you and I are family, and that's the relationships that we know that we chose as chosen family." That was complicated, and he slept. he may sleep with his family once in a while. It's a very different experience.
The Obamas being able to come to the DC premiere really feels like such a watershed and full circle moment. And Rustin is coming really at such a fortuitous time where Black rights and LGBTQ rights are still actively under fire. What do you hope people young and old alike can take away from Rustin?
I really do hope that they see this as a call to arms, to say, to get in it, to say that we must be a part of this. We must be a part of grassroots movements to make sure that our rights are there. Otherwise, we feel like we're back in 1963. And that's what it feels like. Things are rolling backwards. I really hope it ignites young people more than anything, because that's exactly where the people who are making this movement happen. So that they can see themselves and see that they have the possibility to get in it and make this world the way they want it to be. I truly hope so. I think that's why the film has a propulsive beat to it. It's inspirational and light. It's not like a history lesson. I think it really does make you feel like you want to be a part of it. And now it's yours. Go out there and continue this work. This is your legacy. This is your right. And when you go to Washington, D.C., I love that there's this one moment where I turn around and look at the Washington Mall, because it's actually what I also feel. I also feel like it's a place of possibility. And I can see what we're all trying to do, which is make America live up to its promise, because it hasn't been living up to its promise. And I think, but there's hope, and maybe that's it. I think right now we're really in dark times, and we've been in dark times before, but it seems a little darker. And I really do think that we need films like this to say, hold on, hang in there. you can get in there, but you must get in there and form coalitions and get your brother and sister and make it happen. You know.
I think that might be the best lesson we have from him, is that he never succumbed to cynicism and always had hope.
Yeah, always, especially for someone who had the shit picked out of him many times. Life was telling him to not have hope, but doggedly, he believed. He truly believed in the human spirit and the human condition and what we can do. I think it was something from within. It was a light from within, and that he shared to young people. And so you've got that light too. So I hope that the film inspires people. I really do.
I think it will.
Mm.
Yeah. Colman, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mark. Thank you.
I can't wait to see you again.
You too. It's so good to see you. I'll be hugging you soon. All right.
Okay, yes, I know. I can't wait.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.